Check my YouTube channel, subscribe, and share.
Welcome, everybody. This is Kimberly Speaking Podcast, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Marcea Whitaker, an award-winning international keynote speaker, physician, master, destiny life coach, and author. Welcome, Marcea.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate you bringing me onto your show. I cannot wait to get into the conversation and go from there. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, so much to kind of cram in here. So I am Dr. Marcea Whitaker. I am a physician. I'm a life coach. I grew up in the Maryland area. Then went off to medical school and all the things. I think the thing that I'm going to share about who I am is I'm going to say a boss, but I was trapped in a primitive state.
Wow. And I'm sure a lot of people can actually relate to that. So in saying that, what is the difference in you being trapped there and what did you do to get out of that?
Yeah. So the first thing I can say is that I stayed trapped for 40 plus years.
Wow.
And I didn't get out until I was squeezed and I had to make a decision.
Oh, wow.
Right. And even though I felt like I was doing stuff, I mean, I'm a physician, so I was a successful physician. I had children, I was married, all of the things. I was a first lady of a church. I was doing things, the kids were in multiple sports. But the thing is that I always felt like I was living underneath of my potential. So
wow. So with being all that, a wife, a mother, a physician, a first lady, but you still had that feeling. Oh my gosh. That is.
Yeah. Whew. And that feeling would leave me exhausted. That feeling would leave me unfulfilled. That feeling would leave me in a bathroom with the door locked, silently crying.
Oh my gosh.
Because if I was heard, if I was found out, now I would have to say the things that I was feeling. And I didn't have the support system because I hadn't actually said it out loud to too many people. And I didn't have a safety net, and I didn't know how it was going to go. So I kept it, and I was always, how you have a reserve of what you can handle. My reserve was always on E. And it just took one thing to tip the scale and send me to a place where I wasn't okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh. So how did you transition from that state to this state?
Yeah. So I mentioned that, well, one, I had years of saying, you know what, there's more. And I started searching for, okay, what is it? Yeah. And there was a moment where I had to protect myself and protect my children. That moment made me, how we have that defining moment where you may be afraid. And this goes back to, I know your story from stage. It was that moment in that bedroom when you made a decision, whether do I fight or do I not? Right. Yeah. And I had many of those, not that particular instance, but mine looked different. But I had to say, you know what, am I fighting or am I freezing?
Oof.
Am I fighting or am I freezing? And I chose to freeze all of those other times. I chose to, let's just warm it over. Let's massage it. Let's sweep it underneath the rug.
Yeah.
It's me, it's not you. I must be doing something wrong. Yes, it was my fault.
Absolutely.
All of those things. But then there was a moment where the protective mother in me had to say, you know what? I've been thinking this all along, but right in this moment, I need to take action because my desire to protect was greater than my desire to keep it quiet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the author role. How did your books come about? What led to you deciding, hey, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to put some things down. I'm going to go to this level of my life.
So I always knew I needed a book, right? Because when you're in the speaker space, they talk of the triple threat, right? You are a coach, you're a speaker, and now you're an author. Okay. So that's kind of like the background. But then I also wanted to get out of some of the thoughts I had. And by this time I would have been a life coach for a while. And my story that I was using to share my journey was my birthmark on my face. And I decided to write a story. It was called Mark from Birth, the transformational journey from flawed to fabulous. And that is where, first of all, it took me 2 years to write. Well, it took me 2 years to start to write it.
Oh gosh.
But then once I started writing it, because again, I was squeezed. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. And my life came down to being squeezed. Okay. I take action when I'm squeezed. Okay. So now I had a book launch. I was launching it in Detroit. And I had like 6 weeks to go, and I hadn't written the book yet. And I was like, I have this book launch. I wrote the book. I wrote the book, had it edited, had it printed in 4 weeks.
Oh my gosh. What? Are you kidding me right
now? No, the craziest thing. So if you're listening, if you ever want to have a desire to write a book, it doesn't take all that. It doesn't take you laboring and all that kind of stuff. It will be a labor of love. But if you are committed, if you are driven, it can be done. And I, as I'm thinking about the process, it took a lot. Okay. It took over my life in that moment, but I still had a full-time job. So I was doing it while also having a full-time job. But I was able to get it written, as I said, get it edited, work on the cover, get it on Amazon. I couldn't do the printing through Amazon because it wasn't going to get to me. So I had to find a local printer who was going to be able to print it, turn it around in like 7 days. Crazy.
Girl.
It was crazy. Then I had to think, okay, well, do I ship it to Detroit? I'm like, no, I need them babies in my hand. And I got the book a couple of days before I had to fly out. I mean, it was so close.
Oh my God.
It was one of those things where I said, you know what? I did it. God was with me. Anything that you want to do, you're able to do.
Yeah, that's true. You just have to decide to do it. That's true. That is true.
Yep.
Okay, so you're an author. You're CEO of Full Bloom Health and Life Coaching. So what do you do for people? What is your what do you provide them with?
Sure. So in Full Bloom Health and Life Coaching, it is a company that houses Girl Boss Life Academy. And with that, I help professional women who are trapped in their personal prison. And so it's pretty much people like me.
Yeah.
Okay. Those who were trapped because of mindset, trapped because they're in a relationship that they need to get out of, trapped because they don't think they're good enough, trapped for whatever reason, because the process of getting out is the same. And what I do is I help them to discover who they are. And a lot of times when, especially women, when we're in that state, we have forgotten who we are. And some of us have never uncovered it to figure out who that is. Okay. And the second part is to discover what it is that to decide what you want.
Yeah.
I called it, I was using someone else's brain to make my decisions. Okay. I was trying to decide, okay, is that person going to be upset? What would that person want? What do the kids want? What is, and I'm always trying to guess what someone else was saying. And I never considered what I want.
Yeah.
And so that meant at the end of the day, I was always unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because when you're doing things for everybody else, then how can you be satisfied?
Right. And then the third part is delivering on your destiny. And that's why I help those individuals get to the destiny that they choose. Now that's one bucket in the business. The other bucket is life coaching for business builders, which is a program for both men and women who they know they have a business inside of them, or they've already launched their business, and I help them to build it. What I've learned in the process of bringing these women through that process, sometimes that destination is a business, but the business building process can be hard. Okay, it can be grueling. It can rob your time, your money, your resources, your mental health.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but it's worth it in the end.
It is.
Something that you said. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it is worth it, but a lot of people aren't able to last can't get over the speed bumps. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when you was talking about like you were doing everything based on how others would, what they would want, what would make them happy, like it made me think of something I was actually listening to today. As women, we serve in so many roles. We're mothers, we're wives, we're this, we're that. And a lot of times because we're operating in those roles, we're not thinking about self first. So I feel like a lot of times we put ourselves on the back burner, things that we want, things that we want to do, things that we need or should do, just to please others in our life.
True. And I'm going to put a caveat here. And I think most mothers do that. And that's not wrong. But I'm going to say the process to it is going to be different. And so I'm going to use an example. You know how if somebody kills somebody, right? I'm using a graphic example, right? Whether or not it was premeditated determines what sentence they get. Okay. So I'm going to use that same example, flip it around a little bit. For moms, when we are just mindlessly going with the flow and making sure that everybody's okay, we're not even thinking about what it is that we want. Okay. And my edit here is, this is the premeditation part, not so much we're killing somebody, but right? When we say, you know what, I've got 5 people to feed. Oh no, better yet, we need to go on vacation and I have 5 children. I really want to go to the opera, for the weekend or whatever. I'm gonna do New York for the weekend.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But I've got 5 kids under 5. They're not gonna. That's gonna be difficult, right? So maybe we go to the amusement park for the weekend. So when we say, you know what, I really want to go to New York, but you know what, I've got 5 kids. It's going to be difficult. I'm going to make a decision that we're going to go to the amusement park. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plan a girls trip and I'm going to go to the play you and your mate are going to go to the play the following weekend. It isn't just, let's just go to the amusement park and you never do the thing that you said you want.
Wow. And see, I think that's where some people get trapped. Like they want to eventually do that. Say, okay, we're going to go to the amusement park, but I'm gonna do this later. Later never comes.
Correct.
You know. So, and that's the thing. You have to be intentional. So that's a good thing.
Right.
So what are some?
You have to premeditate it.
Yeah, plan it. You know, that's true. That's true. That is so true. Listen, I've definitely been there. And life and getting older will make you do more planning, I feel like, because when you're younger, you're like, oh yeah, I got all the time in the world, da da da. And then, life is just it's passing you by, and you're like, man, I didn't do any of the things that I wanted to do, that I've always wanted to do. I need to get out and do these things, to make me happy, to feel fulfilled, which is what you did. And what were some obstacles that you had to deal with in this whole process, just transitioning from, autopilot to, living the life that you're living now?
Yeah. Most of them start and end with me. The first one is that I don't deserve it, or I feel guilty. Right. We started with the big one, right? Mom guilt is a thing that we need medication for. Okay. And what I've learned is that kids are going to be okay. And it's even healthy for them to know that mom is going to hang out with her kids.
Yep.
Right. It's different if all mom does is hang out with her kids. Yeah. But the thing that I noticed is that, and you mentioned this early on, is that, moms get into this rut. And then you said when we get older, we start doing other things. But what happened is that we've conditioned the people in our lives that we don't need the time away. So the antidote to that is that you have to start from the beginning of saying, hey, I need time away. They're not just going to say, hey, take some time away. No, it don't work like that, right? You have to say, hey, I need some time away. So I'm going to go on. Yeah, we just got married, but I'm going to go on a girls trip every quarter. Or you know what? I'm going to hang out a little bit later. I'm not going to come home. I'm going to spend the night at the place that the girls are instead of me being the only one driving back home, because I don't want you to feel like, you got the kids and I need to be back. I was always the one driving back home, and the other friends with kids, they would be hanging out, having fun. You were just sitting around chatting, or having fun, kiki, the things that we do, right? But you have to start it early, as opposed to don't wait too late to make that decision.
Absolutely. So what do you do? We know that you're a girl boss. You work, you do this. What are you doing for fun? How do you release? How do you relax? Do you relax? Do you take time away?
So that's a loaded question, because, and I said this recently, is that because I lived underneath my potential for so long, sometimes, a lot of times, me just being in a space of, what do I want to do? You know what? I think I want to do that. You know what? I don't want to do that. Sometimes me just laughing, me just being at peace, me closing my door and locking it, I get giddy. Just thinking about it. And for me, there's not like one thing that I love to do. It's not like, I like to travel, but you know how you go somewhere like, you know what, I've been there 2 and 3 days. It's time for me to come home. Right. I like reading. I kind of like reading, but after a good one summer book, I'm good. I like watching movies, but I'm not going to watch a movie every week. So it's just one. I get to decide. I like massages, but one every month or every week. No. So it just depends. I don't have one thing that I'm like, that's what I do.
So just the freedom to do whatever you want to do.
Freedom to get up when I want to. Go to bed when I want to.
I'm telling you, that peace. Listen, people. ah, I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, I love money. Money is good. Don't get me wrong. I'll receive it and I love it. You know, you need it. But baby, that peace,
Priceless.
whew, priceless. And you know, like with some of the jobs, it's like, well, you know, this position is one more month. I'm like, you know, thank you, but like, am I at this point in my life? I need work-life balance and I need peace. Like that money, that's good, but it's really not at the top of the list at this point. Like
Right.
I've done that when I was younger. You know, you want to make the most money. You want to do. That's not the most important thing now.
Not at all.
Because stress is killing people. You know, so you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not at peace, you can't even enjoy it.
I hope you can't spend
You
it. Mm-mm.
you, and people just like chase. You have to, you know, chase your desires, chase what you love to do, all those things, your passion. When you chase that, the money will come, and it's just a bonus, but it's not the main thing, you know.
Right.
So, you serve as the founder of Girl Boss Life Academy, and you know, help equip women with the blueprint they need to redirect their mindset. Let's talk about your empowerment radio show. Let's talk about that a little bit and how did that come about?
Yeah. So I am the radio personality on the Megasource Entertainment Network. My show is called Up Sis Up. And what I do there is I help women to rise up, I help women to speak up, and I help women to boss up, both in life and in leadership. And I bring powerhouse individuals onto the platform to share their thoughts, their platform, their testimonies, and just to encourage and help individuals kind of take that extra step to get to their destination.
Okay, well, that is awesome. And we're going to make sure that we put, you know, all your links and everything with the episodes so people can get in contact with you. People can, you know, go out there and watch all your things. Now, you've been featured in Forbes, you've been featured in other major platforms such as ABC, NBC, Fox. What is what is some advice that you would give someone that feels like they are living beneath their potential, but don't feel like they have what it takes to take the first step, the necessary steps?
Yeah. So you mentioned multiple pieces. The first is the awareness that you're living underneath your potential, right? That's the first thing. And say, you know what? There's something more for me. There's more. And I used to have to think, I used to try to drive from the back seat, but you can't, right? You have to get out, get into your own vehicle, and then you decide, right, where you're going to go. So the first is acknowledging. Second is making a decision that, you know what? I have to find out what my destination is, what my destiny is. And then the third piece of not thinking you can do it or what the next step is, that one, I'm going to say you can do it, right? And for some, that's going to be enough. Saying, hey, you know what? You can do it. And look at Oprah, look at your neighbor, look at the person who, whatever, you go read a book, right? And they can help motivate you in order to get farther down the road. Now, there's going to be some individuals who that's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
And for them, I would suggest you reaching out and you getting coached. If it's more so a medical kind of thing, and maybe there's some depression or anxiety, you know, get a therapist, you know, do the things that you need to do, because I always say, if you did nothing, if you made no change, where will you be in 6 months? Where will you be in a year? And if the answer is, I'm going to be in the same space, are you willing to take that risk, or will you do something different in order to get someplace different in your life?
Wow. So with all the things that you have going on now, how do you prioritize and how do you stay consistent? How do you stay focused?
Yeah. So you had asked me a question earlier, and the answer I was going to give you was consistency. And I think you said, how would somebody, you know, get started you know, with this in the speaking coaching business is that you have to be consistent, even with the publications, right? Just being on a show, right? I was on Fox 45 or most recently. Just being on that one show is not going to change the direction of my company, my business, right? Gotcha. And just listening to some of the questions you've asked me is that I have a radio show. Okay. I've been in Forbes. Okay. I've been in USA Today. I've been in CEO Weekly. I've been on Fox 45 a couple of times, right? I've had some other publications. I've had some in-person events. I've had virtual events. I've had a summit. I have 3 books. I have another one coming out soon, right? So I have, and that's just a short list, right? So you have to be consistent in order to gain the momentum. It's kind of like running a hill. If once you start running, you kind of roll back to the beginning. And then you have to start over.
Ooh, that makes sense. Oh, great analogy. Oh my gosh. Ooh, and speaking of live events, that's how we met. I attended your Refueled and On Fire, and oh my gosh, when I tell you, like I was just like, oh my gosh, like even just being a part of it, like I got so much out of like listening to other people, like listening to their stories, like just it was just great. It was an awesome event. I loved it. I had such a great time. I was exhausted, but that's like the mental anguish of, preparing and, the fear, that initial fear you have, that it's a good fear, but it's still a fear, nonetheless. But it was just an awesome event. It was just very well ran. I'm just meeting great people. Like I met so many awesome people. I'm like, y'all are just great. Like, oh my gosh, it was so good. I'm telling you, it was just awesome. Oh, it was awesome. Just awesome. I've been to events and it's just like, never felt like this. And just even the energy, like the positive energy, like the good, I know it sounds cliche, but good vibes. Like it literally was good vibes. It was just a great time. It was a great time, great event, greatly ran. It was just awesome.
Well, thank you. Look, I'm going to jump in real quick. Thank you so much. But I wanted to say that for one, I love your comments, but you did such a great job. Your energy was there, even as we were kind of getting prepared over the last few weeks, that there was just so much excellence in the room. And as you say, everybody was just encouraging. And it was something, and by design, it's not something that just happens. I had to curate that event, and it took months. It took months. And actually it came from a different event that I didn't have. I decided to, I had to put on my big girl panties, and I ended up shutting that event down because it wasn't the vision, right? It wasn't what I was thinking. So, but it was something that was planned, and I executed it. And that is why it felt the way that it felt.
That is crazy. That is, it was such a good time. I'm telling you. And I don't even know if you I don't know if you knew. So when we were doing the little bingo thingy, like getting to know everybody, like I opened the marker, like to take the top off. And when I opened it, the ink just said, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be up here. Like they're going to be able to see this. Like I'm going to be ineffective. Like when I tell you I freaked out, I freaked out. Everybody at the table freaked out. I ran to the bathroom and I'm just like wiping. And I'm like, you know what? There's nothing I can do about this. At the end of the day, I got to get up here and do what I came to do. And thank God, you couldn't really tell. thankful that the color was dark enough where it wasn't, visible. But oh my gosh, I was like, you know what? It ain't nothing but the devil trying to mess with me right here. Like I'm gonna be thinking about that, and my mind is not gonna be focused. I'm gonna be distracted. But I was like, nope, tunnel vision. We ain't doing this today. Not
Oh my
today. I was like, no, crazy, right? I was like, ain't no more bingo. I don't want to mark nothing else. I'm not using no more markers. I ain't doing nothing else. We gonna talk, but I ain't marking nothing. So man, it was so crazy, man. I'm telling you, like I was like, what in the world? But man, like listen,
no,
girl, I was like,
I did not know that, but I have a similar story. So I was at a speaking event, and it was a multiple day event, and I decided to change my clothes at the intermission. I was in the second half of the show.
Okay.
And as I'm about to change, and I'm going on second. It's after lunch. We get ready to change my clothes, and one of my team members sees someone else who also changed during lunch, and we had on the exact same outfit.
Oh gosh, no. Oh gosh, no, no. That is like the worst. That's worse than the marker. You can't even do that. There's no way we're doing this. Like, no.
I was like, what? And I didn't have another outfit. Okay.
What did you do?
So what happened is that my team had been to the mall the day before, and my daughter was part of the team, and she says, and she had called me that day before. She was like, Mom, I saw something that I think you would like. And I was like, I don't got time to be shopping. I'm here for a reason. So what we ended up doing, she was like, Mom, we can get to the mall, we can get that outfit, and we can get back here. I was like, we probably had an hour, if that.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
So we jump in the car, and I still had to give my presentation. So she has the flashcards, and I'm prepping myself while we're driving because she was under 18. And so I'm driving. We get to the mall. I park illegally. We run into the mall. The store was right outside of one of the in stores. We go inside. She pulls the jacket, but there were no pants.
Oh my gosh!
I had to go find the pants, and the line was out the door. I mean, when I say out the door, it was probably 25 people in line.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
It was 2-story building, store. So I run upstairs, get upstairs. That line also has 20 people.
Oh my god!
And now we have like 30 minutes. So now I'm like, I pull a guy from the who works there. I'm like, hey, I said, I'm in a speaking event.
Yeah.
I only have like 20 minutes to get back. Is there any way you can ring me out? He tells me, he says, just leave it there and I'll take it. Right. So I walked away. He picked it up. He rung me up, and I got back in the car. I had 15 minutes. My other team members were waiting for me at the door. It had to be ironed. So I'm in. Yes, it was wrinkled, right? I had on. I just so happened I had on like platinum kind of jewelry, and the buttons of the thing happened to be platinum.
Oh my goodness!
So I'm in the bathroom changing my clothes.
Oh god!
And I am frazzled. I'm sweating. I'm
sure.
down.
Exactly.
I walk into the venue, and it's my time to go. I'm trying to tell them I need some more time.
I need more time.
I get on the stage, and I deliver my message.
Oh, girl, what in the world? I'd have been like, you need to move something around. I need to go like fourth something. Girl, what? Oh my gosh, I'd have freaked out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But nobody knew. I told folks kind of late, like similar to what you did. I told the organizer, like a couple weeks later. I told the person who had on the same outfit. I told her probably around that same time too, because not only would it have affected me,
it would affect her.
And we're going to be on the same platform, and the video footage of us in the same.
Gosh. Yeah, that would have been the worst. Ain't nothing worse than going somewhere with somebody and have something like you. You're like, no, it ain't even hitting like I wanted to hit. I ain't gonna be able to do it. Oh
Right.
my gosh, that is crazy.
We still
Oh,
laugh.
but you know what's so funny? That was probably like flawless delivery. Like it probably was like one of the best speeches you ever did.
It was. It
See,
was.
and it's like those times it's like it's crazy, but you end up it's like it's perfect. It's like the perfect storm.
It
Oh
is.
my God. Yeah, I would have freaked out. I don't know what I would have done. I'm gonna be real. I was like, I just can't do it. I don't know what I would have done.
And so
Oh my
the other little tip is that just in terms of in general, that
God.
I never like go shopping for an outfit before an event.
Okay.
I
Really?
always use something I already have. Whether I may have purchased it before, I may not have worn it yet, but
Yeah.
I always use something that is not out in the stores because
Okay.
that's
Smart.
that's my tip
Yeah.
for not getting someplace where someone has the same exact
hmm
outfit that you do.
Oh, that is so smart. I didn't think of that. That is smart. And it makes so much sense, like hearing it. Oh, wow, that's great. I sometimes I will buy something and it'll like sit in the closet just if I don't have a place to, wear it to or whatever. Um, Very few in them, far and in between. Not a lot, but I do have a few of those outfits. But that is very smart. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're gonna wrap this up. I just want to thank you again for just allowing me to be a part of that event. I am definitely grateful and glad that we have connected and hope that we, continue to stay connected and just kind of like move forward and just you never know what life may bring. So definitely if there's anything that I can do, I'm definitely here. I feel like, we as women, especially us African American women, we gotta stick together, we gotta help each other. So I'm all about that. So if there's anything that I can ever do, you need me, just let me know. Just want to thank you again. Thank you for being a guest on today. I think you giving us some very good nuggets and a lot of things to think about. And I feel like, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are in that position that you were in.
Mhm.
Luckily, you were aware enough to get out and to make that change, but everybody's not that fortunate. So I think that this will definitely motivate and inspire people who may be feeling like that or know somebody that's feeling like that to, you know what, hey, I need to make a change. I need to do something.
Yeah.
So
Thank
with
you so
that
much.
being said, once again, I just want to thank you for gracing us today with your presence and your wisdom. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel, Kimberly Speaking 8062. Until we speak again, be blessed.